Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe and all of that good stuff. So some breaking news that I was made aware of during my live stream. The WBA have now made Manny Pacquiao a champion in recess at welterweight, and they have also elevated Yordenis Ugas to basically be the full WBA welterweight champion. That title is called the Super WBA Championship. So yeah, of course this news comes at no surprise. Manny Pacquiao has not fought since July 2019. So basically he's not fought in 18 months. He obviously won that full title back in July 2019 and he's not defended it since. And obviously at some point that belt needs to go back into circulation, and right now we're not hearing anything in regards to Manny Pacquiao's next fight. I do like how the WBA have handled this situation. I do agree that the belt needs to get put back into circulation so active fighters can fight for it, but I like the fact they've not outright stripped Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, given what he's achieved in the sport, is commanding of respect, and I believe the WBA have shown him that in this ruling. Basically the champion in recess, from what I understand, can basically come back and fight for that title when he's ready. So if Manny Pacquiao wants to win that title again, he can fight Yordenis Ugas and get it back, or whoever holds that title at the time. So yeah, technically Manny Pacquiao has been stripped, but I think they've done it in a more respectful manner. And given what Manny Pacquiao's achieved in the sport of boxing, I think he's deserving of that respect, to be honest. So I like the way the WBA have handled this situation. And yeah, Yordenis Ugas is the new full WBA welterweight champion. What I've got a feeling we're going to see next is a fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas, because ultimately it would now be a unification fight. Beforehand, Yordenis Ugas held the lesser version of the WBA belt, which you could not unify. Now Yordenis Ugas holds the full version, which you can unify. So Errol Spence Jr. versus Yordenis Ugas, as it stands, would be a unification fight, and it would be a great opportunity for the PBC to basically get Errol Spence Jr. as a freeweight world champion. Yordenis Ugas is a very good fighter in my opinion, a top 10 welterweight towards the lower end, but ultimately I think we all agree Errol Spence Jr. would be a massive favourite in that fight. And most of us agree that we would pick Errol Spence Jr. to win that fight. I think Yordenis Ugas would give him some problems. It would be relatively competitive, but ultimately I just see Errol Spence Jr. having too much, and I think that's the fight the PBC will push next. Because ultimately, let's be honest, the Terence Crawford fight is not going to happen anytime soon. Manny Pacquiao right now is out of action, and that basically leaves Yordenis Ugas. They was talking about this fight even before this ruling, so now he's got the full title. I would imagine Yordenis Ugas is a much more attractive opponent for Errol Spence Jr. to fight. So yeah, Manny Pacquiao now has been made the champion in recess by the WBA. He is now eligible to fight for that title when he wants to come back. Maybe we'll get a fight between Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr. in the future, maybe towards the end of this year. Maybe Errol Spence Jr. versus Ugas in the summer for the unification fight, and then Pacquiao versus Spence towards the end of this year. I wouldn't be shocked if that's what the PBC have in mind, given the current situation. In fact, it's actually worked out really well for them, all things considered. But yeah, there we go. Manny Pacquiao champion in recess, Yordenis Ugas full champion. What do you make of this ruling? Are you happy? Are you unhappy? Share your thoughts below. It's been your guy Delboy. Peace.